www.esotericnyc.com. So Geraldine, we wanted to add before we begin a little bit about the year of the tiger and how, because I know we just all celebrate the Chinese New Year and we're so multicultural and we're so accepting of everybody's beautiful cultures. And can you talk a little bit about the year of the tiger from your perspective?
Yes, and as I was saying, I'm not really an expert in this, but it is something that I do love to include in my awareness when I begin a year. I have a wonderful network of healers at higherhealing.com, and one of those healers specializes in Chinese astrology and feng shui, and she's amazing, Kathleen Zemansky. Please do check her out. And, I attended her event this year, and it really helps you kind of understand when you look at the patterns, what we're looking at and what we're experiencing is little cycles of energy, right? So every single one of these animals has a vibrational frequency. And for this year, the year of the tiger coming into this water is about emotions. So from the energetic and emotional aspect of it, what we want to look at this year is a really deeper understanding. I mean, we've been experiencing this for the past 2 years, but it's an integration of emotions and discovery of emotions, and also the mastery of emotions in the body. How can we become familiar with the emotions? How can we process emotions? How do we acknowledge them and really create a very deep presence with yourself throughout the day? This is what this year is about. And in that kind of embodiment and awareness of your emotional state, I think that this is the core of the material. It's what you're expressing outwardly, because the emotion is a vibrational frequency. And whatever you are in resonance with, it's what you're going to experience in life. So this year of the water tiger is a very prosperous year, a lot of movement, a lot of potential for change, major transformations, a lot of changes in family nucleus groups, a lot of changes in society. There is a lot of division energy that is present right now. And I think that's been true for the past 3 years. But I think that we're kind of solidifying the groups in which we're kind of coming into in the next couple of years. And the reason for that is co-creation. Who are you in resonance in order to co-create with? It's very important to be aware of who you're exchanging with. And as we move on in the next 3-4 years, especially in 2024, things are really going to change big time. And this is kind of preparation for that. People are finding their groups. People are aligning and understanding how it is to hopefully embody a neutral state of being. And when you find groups, let's say, in which you're in resonance with, you understand that your ideas and way of thinking is not going to be just compartmentalized and limited to those groups. We need to be able to try to come into unity consciousness as best as possible. And I think that this is what we want to focus on. I think the focus is on coming into groups, but we want to try to come into unity as best as possible. So whatever we have to overcome emotionally, mentally, physically, in our perceptions in order to reach that, that's what this year is about. How can we overcome these concepts of separation internally, externally, in order to come into something that's a little bit more whole, more holistic, body, mind, and soul, and the spiritual work. So I think this year is big on that. It's big on that, as well as other transformations in finances. We're going to be seeing a lot of different things in the political realm as well, which will affect greatly a lot of the major systems that are currently in place right now. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I do believe very much in timelines. I believe that things can be changed. So we can talk more about that.
So that's great that you mentioned that. And for those that haven't seen our Morphogenesis panel that we just did in the webinar, we just did on January 23rd, Geraldine did an absolutely extraordinary presentation of the morphogenesis and how our thoughts, our vibrations impact the morphogenetic field. So can you just a brief summary, can you add to that, is pertaining to how things will change, as you said, 2024, and people will align in groups, division will kind of slow down, and we will become more in co-creation and unity. How can we do that in reference to the morphogenetic field? How can we begin to do that? How can we really take this topic into a serious account where we become fully accountable for our actions, our thoughts, and make sure that our breath each day, not only does it have value, but we seed a new form of direction, a new form of thought process into the morphogenetic field to help the human consciousness collective evolve.
Well, first, we want to understand, just for those of us that are not very familiar, the morphogenetic field is a field of, it's an intelligence, it's instruction manual that is a field in which we participate in for co-creation. And so the beautiful thing about that is that we are literally one organism on this planet. Each one of us is a fractal of infinite consciousness that is here to help create and co-create. And there's a certain mechanics and there's certain ways to utilize this incredible instrument that is the physical body. The physical body, once we master it, we have the ability of activating aspects of ourselves that transcend just this three-dimensional plane. We can access up to the 13th dimensional plane and even more than that. And it's very important that we do that. I think that's actually the future of the human race, is for the human to begin to understand their multidimensionality, the incredible intelligence, and it's kind of like this organic technology that we are, that it interacts, and everything that is occurring in this organism, in this physical body, is projecting and affecting the whole in such a powerful way. We as humans don't realize the weight that even a thought has every moment. A thought can be something fearful. A lot of things are actually happening as a result of that thought. Your thought can be unconscious, but your entire body is responding to this thought, this unconscious thought, whether you know it or not. There are chemical systems that are being activated in the body. There's energetic triggers that are occurring in the multidimensional body. And as a whole, over time, more and more unconscious thoughts take you into more and more unconscious experiences. And oftentimes, it isn't until something very drastic or sudden occurs that we begin to wake up and we're like, whoa, how did I end up here in this situation with this experience? Perhaps it's a painful experience. It usually, unfortunately, is that suffering experience that causes someone to wake up. And then they think back and really they're not even aware of how they got there. So what that means is that when we follow a series of these unconscious thoughts, unconscious behaviors, we really are not understanding the mechanics of creation. So we have to take a step back. So you asked earlier, how can we go more towards this unity consciousness? I think we have to understand the basics of what we are. This human body is a fractal of infinite consciousness, but as a whole, we are interconnected. You and I here on this panel are one. Everyone tuning into this is one. We not only that, but we are genetically and biologically interconnected by this network, which is the morphogenetic field. Just as if we were one physical body, the entire human race functions like one physical body, like as if our body. The cells in our body are working to create cells for a finger, cells for an arm. You know, they have the instruction manuals for this organism, the shape that it has to take. But the human race as well has the same kind of instruction manual. So that's really important, especially for those that are feeling isolated, alone, disconnected, separate at this time. It's important to remember that you are a part of a whole, and the creation of your being was designed like eons ago, and it's interconnected into different timelines, different dimensional planes. So many things have come together through the centuries. If we're thinking linearly, which is untrue, simultaneously in order to create who you are right now. So you are so important to this creation. And what we want to understand is that every single system in the body, especially the chakra system, which is their vortices of life force that create the fields, dimensional fields around you in which you are navigating. So everything that's inside of these chakra systems, in these vortices of creation, it projects what you're experiencing. If you are primarily in the root chakras, in fear, in survival, these are the examples of separation. And one of the most impactful things that I discovered in my early work was when I followed my emotions to the root by just simply sitting with the emotions for a moment and discovering what emotions are underneath each of those emotions. I discovered all emotions have a certain scale, and they have a root. And the roots are two roots. They are fear or love. So when we talk about separation, we're talking about fear, because and this is kind of like the design of this entire multiverse. Actually, if we go back to the book of Enoch, if we talk about the creation of life on this entire multiverse, it was the separation of that infinite consciousness from source that was curious to experience something as separate from the whole. And that separateness from the whole is what is manifested into this multiverse, which we're experiencing now as Earth in all these different dimensional layers of experience. So in the third dimensional plane, it's about creation. And in this creation, this concept of separation, in order to access creation in a three-dimensional plane, there has to be that reuniting self. The organism has to remember itself as a whole rather as a separate. And this occurs by accessing that information in your emotional body and tracing it back to all these cyclical patterns of experiences and behaviors that you're not only experiencing in this current timeline, but you're experiencing in other timelines simultaneously. It's what you call past lives, future lives, interdimensional aspects of yourself. So all this information is in your field of energy. It's in your DNA. The DNA system is actually a holographic system. And what we call junk DNA, which is the one that doesn't write the protein to create the physical hologram, is actually where all of this other information is stored. So if you understand just that part, really think about what an incredible mechanism you are of co-creation, that every single thought is informed by the information that's already existing within you. What happens if you remove and deprogram the information that's within you, the false belief systems? You come down to a state of zero, a neutrality. And there's layers to that neutrality. It goes deeper and deeper. You deprogrammed your current lifetime, you deprogrammed your past lives, and then you can enter into the higher states of understanding. And so this is where we begin to affect even higher levels beyond the three-dimensional plane. People that have telepathic abilities, psychic abilities, telekinesis, all of these gifts are available to you. Everyone, every single human on this planet has the ability to do that. So this is what the morphogenetic field is about. This is us navigating that, understanding the constructs and the design of that, and how we affect that is every thought, every emotion, every intention, everything that you are as an expression is affecting the whole. So it's important to remember that.
That is an extraordinary statement. You are everything that you are as an expression is affecting the whole. That's it. That should be a timeless statement that should really be seeded into our morphogenetic field for eons, because once we all understand that each of us actually has the capacity to affect the whole and that we are not separate, then we will take more accountability for our thoughts and for our actions every single day. And that's a very strong message for everyone really. Tell us in regards to that, what exactly is your specialty? Because you're like jack of all trades in so many ways, but there's one specific one today that we want to kind of gear into.
Oh, sure. Well, my specialty, I mean, I have the ability of reading the multidimensional body. And so that's allowed me the ability to go in and study what I'm seeing in myself and in others and work with that information. And my specialty is basically to work with the information that's in your body that's causing limiting belief systems, blockages, entities, attachments, all of these things that we believe are blocking us, and to reach the root core of those things and deprogram them. We deprogram. What does it mean to deprogram? Simply, you are broadening your perspective from fragments that were created through trauma. We are fragmented deeply every time that we experience trauma. And I define trauma as any time that you have ever felt helpless in any situation. It can be something as simple as someone gives you a strange look to something even more traumatic than that. So my job is to assist people in going to those fragments, reintegrating those fragments. And we do that either through DNA reprogramming or hypnotherapy. Yeah, and so that's primarily what I do, and within that work, we find interdimensional aspects of people, past lives. We want to go as deep as possible, whatever is available and accessible to the human at the time.
I know that part of my specialty is also DNA activation, and so I've learned that the most key aspect that is such an important factor of doing that work is to be able to collect your fractals, collect your fragments, to bring back yourselves, as I call it, back to you. And to also, most importantly, to primarily acknowledge your multidimensional selves. We actually have within the audience here on our virtual platform on the Zoom call, Simon Deacon, who's actually a very well-known vortex healer in New York City, who does do that kind of a work where he does help people to really affirm and to understand and acknowledge their multidimensional selves. Can you talk a little bit about that? What is the vitality and the importance of actually knowing that, hey, you can function multidimensionally throughout your existence, day in and day out. And then there's multiple cells of you that are coexisting in different dimensions or different lifetimes. And what kind of a process, like how does one begin to really work with their own multidimensionality in order for them to become more whole within themselves?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Would you like me to spotlight you in that one? Go ahead. I'll spotlight you for a second. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Simon.
Okay, well, the multidimensionality in which vortex stealing does just reveals the multi dimensions that you hold within your own consciousness that create not only the fabric of your identity, but just the many dimensions, which also roots itself on so many levels that create this imprint, which both on a conscious and unconscious level, just sort of like manifest your reality, like she said, on an unconscious level. I was doing this last night. I know that I've been doing a lot of healing on myself. Vortex healing is very magical. It's very magical because it helps transform your consciousness. I was doing a healing and a reprogramming on myself on the issue of self-doubt. And there is particular negative conditioning that can be released in the protocol called blueprints. And these are sort of like the blueprints in consciousness, which sort of like hold this place of self-doubt. And I just remember it, and I just really wanted to get in a deeper sense of where it was. So I was like releasing these blueprints of consciousness that hold the issue of self-doubt, and they just sort of like reached into the fabric and just sort of like taking them out. It was so very funny. It was just sort of like a wiping of a program right in front of me. And then with the divine magic, I was able to reprogram divine blueprints that replaced the old blueprints within consciousness to create a reality that was free of the issue. And it was just it just looked very fascinating because it's just showing that, okay, when we think of how we hold this conditioning within our bodies, we think maybe we hold it, maybe in our hearts or we hold it in our heads, but that's what vortex healing is just showing you, just that we are truly multidimensional beings on these so many levels, and how we literally store everything. I'm say, I'm doing healings on the issue of trauma, and the healing that I go goes way back to this one little slight that may have happened when I was a little kid. I said, God, I didn't even think about that. I haven't thought about that in years, but it's true, right? It's true that one little slight can still creates a waiting for it to release itself. That's the multidimensionality of it. It's just everything is stored, everything is imprinted. Though that imprint has an effect on your outer reality. Oh, okay. And as in terms of past lives, I heard a great story from my teacher, Rick Weinman. He's also the founder. He said he had a very bad accident where I think he was working in this tool shed, and he got a very bad accident where he really sliced up his arm. And of course, because he's Rick Weinman, the head wizard of vortex healing, he traced the karmic ramifications of that back in time and to the point where he found it in a past lifetime, the disharmony of it, which sort of like echoed back within this accident. And you're thinking about all the accidents that I may have had, like, and I'm just like, it's just all interconnected that way. So that's the type of interdimensionality that I've been so incredibly educated about, just that we are truly multidimensional beings storing all of this within our consciousness.
Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful addition to that. Thank you. Geraldine, what would you say about that?
About our multidimensionality and how to access it, you mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the thing about the multidimensionality that I really would wish as a teacher about this, for people to really focus on how it's so important. For example, every day in my sessions, I have clients that are exhausted, after a week. And a lot of them are empaths. Of course, I work with lots of empaths that are out in their everyday lives, and they're shopping, or they go to an event with family members. And by the time they're done with the event, they're completely drained. They have no energy. This is not normal. To be drained, to not have energy, to be sick, illness is not normal. It's not normal to be out of balance. It's not normal to be over emotional or have your emotions out of balance, but it's become a norm in our society, unfortunately, because we're constantly in survival mode, and we are constantly completely just told to focus on the material realm and to be in state of survival. So how do we counteract that? Because that was one of the hardest things for me in my early journey, is to merge the spiritual and the practical life. And a lot of people compartmentalize. They say, I just don't have time. How can I have my everyday life and be spiritual at the same time? There's not many schools that focus on showing you the integration of that. They say you need to go meditate, you need to go on a retreat, find yourself, and then, try to come back. The thing is that this work is all the time. It's 24 hours a day, actually. And the reason why multidimensionality is so important to understand is because the reason why we end up suffering, the reason why we end up ill, out of energy, is because we're not learning how to maintain our life force. Speaking of vortices that, he was speaking of earlier, Simon was just talking about, it's incredibly important to understand what the vortex is. This entire body is a vortex, and it's a collection of smaller vortices of energy and information. We are made up of runways of life force. And when those runways get stagnant and stuck, life force cannot move through the body, and we end up ill, we end up depleting energy, and we get something called cords, right? Cords, energetic cords in the body. What does that mean? We are one, okay? But what happens is that we create pools of energy in the body that have been stagnant and now are a resonance to other organisms, other humans, other people that have pools of similar energy, and we begin to bind with them, we cord with them, and we throw back that energy back and forth. And when we're unaware, we completely drain the life force through this space. Our entire multidimensional body, literally, we have holes in the auric field. We get tears in the auric field. So the 13-dimensional bodies, depending on what chakra is out of balance, that's where you're going to have the most tears. So let's say you're in a constant state of survival, your first body. When we look at this in a client, they have the whole back of their body completely open. So what do we find there? A ton of cords connecting to the spine. And these cords are thought forms. Pools of stagnant energy are thought forms that have not been processed, emotions that haven't been processed. So this is how important it is. If you can begin to dissolve and acknowledge, even some people don't want to acknowledge the emotions that they're feeling, it begins to dissolve. And now the energy can move through the body. Now healing can occur. Now your energy is restored just by cutting cords. What does that mean? It's become such a cliche. All that means is becoming aware of your life force, where it's going, and bringing it back into your physical body. And by this manner, you begin to restore the multidimensionality of your body. You begin to restore your energy, and you are no longer counter-creating, you are creating. So this is where you begin to understand the mechanisms. And what does that mean? Your life changes. You're no longer in a state of survival. You're no longer in toxic environments and relationships. You're now having wonderful opportunities in your life. You attract people, places, and things that are in alignment with you, and your life changes. You heal. So this is how important it is. It's creation. It is the state of life. It's vitality. So that's all I would say about that. It's very important to reintegrate and to become whole, which simply means becoming aware of yourself as a multidimensional organism all the way to the 13th dimensional plane. That's what it means to become whole. And essentially, you become one with the rest of the human race.
Can you talk a little bit about the hybridization program and how that fits in? And how do we, as we're starting to become more open to contact with our galactic selves and more open to contact with other races, and that is now becoming our future as we move in to 2024. And how would you categorize the hybridization program now, our perception of it as a whole, and how that fits into our morphogenetic field and our human evolution?
Hybridization program is something that I hope comes more into mainstream understanding of these things, but it's something that is very difficult for the average human to accept, because what we're talking about is the creation of life forms by the union of your genetic information as a human and advanced genetic information. You can say advanced, but it's not necessarily advanced. It's just more activated strands of genetic information that come from these other interdimensional beings. So you're uniting your genetic information with these interdimensional levels of consciousness. And so what is occurring with the organism that's produced, the hybrid that is produced, it becomes a cocktail of DNA. And what that means, what is DNA? DNA is well, you can call it a blueprint, but it really is a snapshot of the entire historical history and the potential of an organism. And it's interdimensionally, not just in the three-dimensional plane. It's on all dimensional planes. So when this snapshot is created, this data is created and then creates this form of an organism, it is sustaining and continuing the cyclical reincarnation cycle of this organism, which we call the matrix. You can say the matrix. And the matrix extends out into up to about the 11th dimensional plane. And then beyond that, it begins to enter into other things. But within this 11, 12 dimensional plane of creation, we are being mixed and combined with these other interdimensional beings in order to activate more strands of DNA. The more you combine genetic information, the more you're accessing information and data, and again, becoming one with all these other organisms. So in a way, if you look at it that way, it's like a natural evolution that is occurring. It's the evolutionary mechanism of this organism, which we call the matrix, which we are participating as if we are cells of that matrix of creation. But more so than that, what the human has is the soul essence, which is, of course, the fractal of infinite consciousness that drives that organism into life, that creates that blueprint for creation. Why this is important? Because this is something that we've participated in since the beginning of conception of life on this planet, so we call a planet. And we are just continuing this generation of organisms. It is a very complex topic because there's many other little details that are included in that. We would have to define what a soul is. We would have to define how many of these beings actually have these souls, or what they are, how they function, for example. But I would simplify it by just looking at the genetic information, which allows access to lineages. And Matt, you talk about the Magdalene lineage, for example, which is very pertinent to this topic, because a lot of the women that remember their hybridization memories are descendants of these Magdalene bloodlines. What is that? It's the divine conception that you just conceive without having a partner. And they experience this. But what's more important is the DNA, not the blood, the DNA, the code that's within them that has been brought down through generations. And when you follow these bloodlines, they go down royal bloodlines that were heavily conserved and protected bloodlines, which means that, they were breeding within one another in order to preserve the purity of that bloodline. And then it branched out into other of the same kind of families. So what that did was concentrate specific information and activate more of that information that was specific to those lineages. And those lineages are descendants of different races, you can say races of species. So why that's important is because in those bloodlines is very occult and ancient information about the mastery, ancient teachings, ancient information about how to manage the body. All of that was heavily preserved and hidden for centuries. Now bloodlines that are coming in with this information are the ones that remember it most. And a lot of the beings that are being born right now easily have access to this data and this information. What's interesting about that is the ancestral lineage of these bloodlines go into royal families. They go all the way back to Mesopotamia, and then go into the original first races that came into the earth. You have these Anunnaki bloodlines stemming all the way back to Draconian and Archonic consciousness as well. And this plays an important role in the perception of the humans that are playing out these roles. The hybridization program, to close up this topic, is the sustainability of this matrix multiverse. We play a role in it in many different dimensional planes, and we do so without our awareness, most of us, unless we wake up with the awareness through healing. And more humans right now are becoming aware that they have had this kind of contact. I mean, in the past 5 years, since I've done documentaries on this topic, and it's been quite published, hundreds of women are talking about their experiences of having these kinds of conceptions without having partners, having miscarriages, or blighted ovum situations where they don't have a fetus but they were pregnant, and things like this, that it is definitely occurring interdimensionally, and it is affecting the physical aspect. And so it's important to understand that, because we then want to question, where does free will play? And free will is really, how can I put this? Free will really is only if you have free will, because we make these agreements in other dimensional timelines to participate in the continuation of these races. And we don't remember that until we have an experience. When we have the experience, it begins to open up all kinds of other experiences that you may have had. So our awareness, waking up consciousness in the present time is important, so that you can understand what you've been doing all these centuries in your blood families, in your ancestral lineages. I'll stop there.
And thank you so much. And in regards to this topic, so for those that are currently waking up to the fact that this is what they've been going through, for women, and for starseeds that are currently waking up as well, we have a record number of awakenings happening right now as this global shift continues. What would be your greatest advice for anyone that is beginning their journey. You've had a long journey, as you mentioned before, and I've seen in documentaries when you first started out, and you had to go through quite a bit in order for you to put out the messages that you put out, which are absolutely extraordinary. I mean, in eloquence and just you had to go through this in order for you to be able to teach and to help others. And that is where my honor towards you comes from, because I could see that, I can feel it as an energy worker, that you've gone through so much and that you could put that out and push forward that message. What would you say to anyone that is currently beginning their journey and that is also in that process of fear and in that root core of, oh my God, I'm waking up, the world is different, I am not choosing fear anymore, I want to choose love, my world is completely shifting and changing? Where did they go? What is their next step? Like what would you recommend?
Yes. One thing that helped me, I didn't experience a lot of trauma when I became aware of these things, because I had been working very heavily in deprogramming and understanding my emotions for years before that. So without that foundation, I can say probably it would be very traumatizing. And I work with people that feel traumatized from these experiences every day. What I have learned through that process and by working with so many people is that it comes down to the beginning of the topic of this conversation today, which is unconditional love for the self. And when we have unconditional love for the self, we become compassionate towards ourselves. We need to have the compassion towards the selves in order to be spiritual warriors or to be in this physical body in this life, because we are interdimensional. That is a fact. Whether you are ready to accept that or not, you will be met with the opportunity to experience or explore that at some point in your life. And in order to deal with things in the unknown, which is the definition of separation, when we don't know something, we fear it. So this is again the idea of coming into unity. We're doing the same even in these topics that you and I are talking about here. We need to see each other as one. And the more and more we're compassionate with ourselves, it is compassionate towards the self to see things as one. Fear begins to dispel. Feelings of helplessness begin to be unnecessary, because you understand that you are not this physical body. This is just a hologram, fractal of infinite consciousness, and there are millions of yous on different dimensional planes that are experiencing countless things that you might not even be aware of. So in order to accept something like this, compassion is incredibly important, right? When you feel that compassion, you also begin to become a little bit more open about what these potential agendas can be. Because in these realms, you're going to be experiencing duality. That's what we're here to experience, the dark and the light. And there is both. And we participated in both, every single one of us. We either have counter-created in times when we have not been very conscious, and then we have also created in times where we have been conscious. So the idea is to try to unite two things, to be compassionate and conscious at the same time. And this is actually my advice for anybody that's in any of these areas, whether it's the hybridization program or just ET Contact, my lab, because all of them are exploring the same kind of things, just in different facades, different little, experiences. Another thing I would say is even the hybrids that are being created. And remember that the hybridization program is the children that are being born today, because the children that have been coming in waves of frequency, different waves of higher and higher frequency, is a product of the hybridization program. So these children that are being born today, even more and more awake, pull us, the parents, and the older generations to catch up. And we're catching up spiritually. We need to do the work. We need to deprogram as much as possible and be in that flow. This is the manifestation of the divine feminine, which is being born at this time, in this age of Aquarius. We are learning to master the divine feminine. What is the feminine? Feminine is surrender. Feminine is trust. It's intuition. We have to use all of those tools to navigate the unknowns that we're going into in interdimensional planes. That's exactly what we need to do right now as a whole. So it's not so much just specific to what we're talking about. Really, it's we're talking about all these topics. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Geraldine. Would you care to just kind of lead us in a small, quick journey, just for us to kind
Yeah,
of? We would
absolutely.
absolutely love that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this day really, truly should be remembered as we are learning unconditional love for the self in order for
Okay.
us to be able to push forward into the morphogenetic field of everyone else. Really. And this is what, just, just kind of off topic, but just to add to that, this is why we do the panels that we do. And this is why the show exists, because we want to put out that message. We want to put that out on the platform, especially in days like today. So thank you so much, Geraldine, for being a part of this. We are so blessed and graced that you are here with us today. It's such an honor. Thank you.
Ariana, thank you very much. You are such a beautiful soul, and thank you for putting this stuff together and everybody here on this panel. It's such an honor to be here. You want to talk on unconditional love. How much time do we have? So I have an idea of what we can do.
Another 35 to 40 minutes.
Okay, great. So let's get right into it. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath and close our eyes and get nice and comfortable. We're just going to begin to take our attention to our breath as we inhale deeply and exhale. And as we breathe, we're going to just visualize as we take a journey through the physical body. We're going to begin at the toes. We're going to imagine that we're going to shrink ourselves down to the size of a cell. We're going to enter in through the toes. And as we are traveling up into the ankles, we are relaxing every single muscle in the body. We are becoming aware of every single muscle in the body with every breath you take. Going up into the shins, into the calves. Bringing the body into as still a state as possible. Going up into the knees, into the thighs. Into the hips. Into the solar plexus. And we're just going to check in because the solar plexus is where we store the majority of our emotions. So just noticing what emotions are in your body right now. Acknowledging. You might not even be aware of some emotions that we have in the body right now. And we're just going to imagine that each one of these emotions is like a different color cloud that we're going to gently slip out of the body, down into the center of the earth, one by one, each one of those emotions, bringing yourself into a state of complete neutrality. Complete relaxation. Going up into the chest, into the lungs, into the arms, into the neck, the head, the face. Releasing the brows, the cheekbones, and the jaw. Now that you're here, go ahead and take your attention out to your energetic field now. How far out does your energy extend around you? Go ahead and tune in. Notice the variations in front, behind, above, below. And as you tune into those variations, I want you to create a sphere around your body made out of something completely impenetrable. And you're going to notice that in areas that are open in your body, it's going to be difficult to imagine the sphere. So just go ahead and notice that. All the areas that are open around the body, I want you to visualize closing them until your sphere is completely solid all around you. And you might sense that it's open. You might know that it's open. You might feel it. You might see it. Excellent. We're going to add 10 feet of white light around the body now. And we're going to go deeper. Go ahead and visualize anchoring yourself down to the center of the earth. You're going to connect the body underneath the armpits, the waist, the hips, the pelvic bone, all the way down to the center of the earth. Bringing yourself into your body. Notice what you're hearing. Notice what you're tasting in your mouth. Notice what you're smelling. Notice what you're sensing around your body. This is being in your body. And this is the level of awareness that we're going to maintain today and the rest of the week, every moment of our waking state. We're going to go deeper. We're going to focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and visualize shrinking that chakra down to the size of a dime. We're not going to stop it. We're not going to stop moving or rotating. We're just going to shrink it down to the size of a dime, disconnecting any imbalances of the root chakra. For those of you that are in states of survival or fear, you're going to notice a really nice release. Taking a deep breath. Go up to your sacral chakra. You're going to shrink it down to the size of a dime. Disconnecting any imbalances in the sacral chakra. You're going to go up to your solar plexus now. You're going to shrink that chakra all the way down to the size of a dime. Disconnecting any imbalances in the emotional body. And you're going to notice now that a very powerful peace, calmness comes over the body. When you are in this state, the choices that you make are no longer out of fear or anxiety. So let's begin to activate our DNA and our information. You're going to go up to your heart. You're going to open that heart chakra as wide as possible, front and back. It's a double-sided vortex. Go ahead and expand that heart chakra. You might notice that some sides of your body feel difficult to open and expand into. You're just going to gently breathe And allow yourself to expand out in all directions around you. You're going to go up to your throat. Go ahead and open your throat chakra as wide as possible, opening the center of communication and expression. You're going to go up into the third eye, center of your forehead. Go ahead and open that chakra as wide as possible, opening the center for intuition. Breathing. You have now activated your body in its highest intuitive point. So today, when the topic is love, I want you to see the color that represents unconditional self-love in front of you. What color is that for you? Go ahead and see. If it's more than one color, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and take that color and we're going to put that up into the crown chakra now. So gently take your attention up to the crown. This is the most important chakra because this is the chakra that is merging the non-physical with the physical body. It's the one that manifests, creates, and projects. You're going to fill this chakra with the color that you discovered. We are changing the frequency, the resonance of this body to a state of unconditional self-love. And we're going to enter it in all areas of our life, in areas of career, in areas of relationship. Just imagine filling it in with that color. Intimate partnerships. Healing and health. Abundance. Manifestation, creative life force, sexual energy. Fill that in. And finally, your purpose. What are you here to do? So right now, your crown is like a pie chart, shining with your color. And we're going to go deeper. I want you to visualize now taking a nice deep breath. But from the center of the earth, you're going to pull up a powerful wave of green life force into the body, creating a powerful vortex around your body. Go ahead and visualize powerful green life force rotating all around your body. You are using earth energy. As it rotates around the body, it picks up debris, thought forms, fears, blockages in all 13-dimensional layers of your body. Go ahead and bring down cosmic energy now from source. Visualize a golden light coming down the crown of your head, combining with this earth green energy. Mix cosmic and earth energy all around you, rotating powerfully. And today we set the intention that we are ready to be compassionate with ourselves. We are ready to love fearlessly, mindfully, consciously. So set the intention that you're letting go of all the blockages and fears that are in your space that don't allow you to embody that. everything that we cleared, we're going to channel down to the center of the earth. So to create a little channel, take 10%, goes back down to the center of the earth. And the earth functions like a recycling mechanism that transforms death into life. So go ahead and eliminate everything that you cleared up down to the earth. At the same time, you're using your body as a conduit, bringing cosmic energy into the earth, healing the earth, healing our brothers and sisters on this earth. So anchor into this healing. The more powerful your spiritual cord, the more cosmic energy you can move through the body. Go ahead and take 80% of this combination. You're going to shoot it up your spine from the crown of your head, and you're going to create a fountain coating the outside of your protective field. Go ahead and see that. Cosmic and earth energy begins to neutralize and clear the illusion, the physical illusion, the matrix. All these imbalanced entanglements. So you're going to visualize that you're calling back all the fragments of yourself from people, places, and things that you're no longer in alignment with. You're going to breathe it back into the body. And as you exhale, releasing everything that you took on that doesn't belong to you from others. Fears, doubts, insecurities, angers, illnesses. You should really be feeling the rotation of this energy around your body now. You're going to go back to the solar plexus. You're going to take that final 10%. It's going to go up your spine, down your arms, and you're going to bring it inside of your field. You're going to nourish the body. Allow that earth and cosmic energy to absorb into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body, transforming any darkness, any heaviness in the physical body now into light. So a lot of people are experiencing liver and digestive issues, lung issues. These are the purification systems of the body, the kidneys. You're going to focus this life force to those parts of the body, providing healing, feeling safe. Very good. So now that you're here, we're going to take a little journey into the different dimensional layers of your body. I want you to go ahead and tune in to the feeling of love. How familiar are you with the feeling of being loved? Go ahead and tune into that. Not just romantic love, unconditional love. Some of us might feel very starved of this feeling. Some of us might have been cultivating it for a long time and we're familiar. So what I want you to do is I want you to take yourself back to the womb. Take yourself back to your mother's womb. I want you to see yourself there as a little infant fetus in the womb. And you're just going to become aware of the emotions that you pick up around you. Your mother's emotions, your father's emotions, your emotions. I'm just observing if there is love here. Do you inherently know what love is? Do the emotions around you cause a disconnect or a disassociation with what you know to be true? You observe yourself as an infant. I want you to begin to surround that infant in a golden sphere of light. And you're going to provide this infant everything that it requires in order to feel unconditional love. You're going to remind it, teach it, show it. A lot of you might feel cords in the very lower back of your body as a result of this practice, heaviness in the lower root areas of your chakras. Go ahead and imagine pulling out whatever you feel, whatever heaviness you feel in any part of your body, out of your body. Just without any judgment, watch and see what you're pulling out of your body. A lot of people describe swampy cords, computer cords, roots. We're going to create a powerful vortex of violet light in front of you. And you're going to throw everything that you're pulling out of your body into that vortex of white light so that it does not stay behind in your living space. And this vortex of white light connects directly to source. Very good. Breathing. Inhaling and exhaling as you release. Let's go ahead and continue. I want you to see now in front of you all of the fragments in your life of yourself that have experienced not having love, not feeling love. You're going to see them in a crowd in front of you, aspects of yourself of all ages. You might notice that a lot of these parts of yourself that you're seeing have experienced traumatic things in their life. And if we start to have strong emotions, we're just going to continue to close the first three chakras, bringing ourselves into a state of neutrality. And we're going to observe without judgment. As you see All of your fragments in front of you, I want you to notice, what is it that they need in order to feel unconditionally loved? Notice them. Take a look at yourselves. Now you are teaching yourself what love is just by doing this one simple observation. Because everything that these parts of you need is how to get and how to embody unconditional love. So let's go ahead and provide all of your fragments. We're going to surround them in a golden sphere of light, and we're going to feed them with everything that they require. Protection, acknowledgement, affection, support. You can do a very deep study into these experiences and understand what the feminine and masculine represent in your life. You can do this when you have more time. But for now, feed all of these cells. See them transforming right before your eyes. You will feel in your body parts of you becoming healed, parts of you becoming whole, your energy field expanding as you do this. All of your fragments are merging into one. We're going to take that infant from the womb, and we're going to take all of your fragments, and they're going to merge into one beautiful self right in front of you. Go ahead and observe yourself here, as if you're looking in the mirror, but what you're seeing is a self that has love, that is loved. And see that self. How do they handle problems that we are currently having in our lives? Fears, doubts, insecurities, fears of life, any kind of fears. How do they manage it? Just watch them, feel them. Learn from them. And what you're going to do now is you're going to inhale them into you, because this is who you are. You are this loving. You are this expansive, open, free, truthful, limitless being. So as you inhale, go ahead and integrate it into your body, and it's going to merge in with the root, the sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye, 7 bodies in, 7 bodies out, all charges down to 0, negative, infinite. In all infinite expressions of yourself, we are reminding them of what we are, of what we know. So as you see yourself here in this room, I want you to begin to tune into your energetic field once again. You're going to focus on the root chakra. You're going to open that root chakra back into a balanced state. It's about 3 inches wide, front and back. And you're going to spin it as fast as possible. Go ahead and spin your root chakra. And just imagine that you're letting go of any debris, any other programs, thoughts, fears that are still in that root chakra. You're going to go up to your sacral. You're going to open it back up into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating all of the blockages in the sacral chakra. Going to go up to your solar plexus now. Go ahead and open your solar plexus back into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating any kind of blockages in the emotional body. And you can literally tune in to these layers. You're looking at the first layer of the body, the second layer, the third layer. And as you look at it, notice if there are tears, if there are openings in this body. You're going to heal them. You're going to seal those openings. You'll notice that your body feels more grounded, more healthy, more vibrant. You also have more energy as you do this. You're going to go up into the heart. You're going to close the heart just a little bit. You're going to keep it nice and wide, but you're going to bring it just a little bit. Spin it as fast as possible. And this is really important. We're going to go ahead and let go of all the fears that we have around love. Past relationships, father-mother issues, and the doubts or fears that we have towards ourselves and loving ourselves. Go ahead and visualize eliminating all of those from your heart center. And you can imagine that they are like objects or clouds. Whatever imagination feels easy for you. Imagine quickly, swiftly removing them. You're going to go up to your throat chakra. You're going to do the same thing, spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating all the blockage of communication, expression, asking for our needs to be met, speaking our truth. Go ahead and let go of all of those fears and blockages around that. Excellent work. And finally, your third eye, the center of intuition. Go ahead and spin that as fast as possible, eliminating any fears about yourself, your trust in yourself, fear of surrender, fear of being in a state of flow, navigating knowns and unknowns. Go ahead and release all of those fears. Going up into the crown now, the center of manifestation and creation. You're going to spin it as fast as possible, eliminating all the blocks about your ability to manifest, create. Knowing that it is mind over matter and you master this physical body and your environment. And we're going to go ahead and activate now the 9th chakra. Turn it on with your color from your crown. The color for unconditional love that you chose. You're going to send it up into the 10th chakra. Activate the 10th. Activate the 11th. Activate the 12th. Activate the 13th chakra. And above you is a powerful white light of source. Go ahead and connect up into source. Some of you have access to higher chakras. Turn them on. But you're going to connect up to source. You're going to bring that white light down into your body. This is unconditional love. This is who you are. You are pure infinite consciousness. Anchor that into the body. Bring it into the toes, the ankles, the shins, the calves, the knees. Feel love for this body. Going up into the thighs, into the organs, healing the body, healing the internal organs. Going up into the large intestine, small intestine, spleen, pancreas, kidneys, the sexual organs. Going up into the liver, the stomach, the heart, the lungs, the throat, the arms, down to the hands, the head, the face. Feel yourself as one whole organism that is now fully communicating all things to one another. All things are in the same page in the body. And you're going to gently open your eyes. And as you open your eyes in this state, I want you to continue to see the protective field that you created around the body, your grounding cord. You're going to continue to see all 13 chakras illuminated. And you're going to be anchored into the center of the earth. So try to maintain this kind of double vision throughout your entire day. No matter what you're doing, you're aware of everything that's here and everything that's occurring outside of you. So thank you so much for joining me for that. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you so much. Wow. That was truly, I have only one word that was given to me by the guides, is encapsulating, as it truly is. Morphogenetically, it's like DNA shift and DNA activation for the whole body. And it truly is fluidity. So thank you so much for that. It's really absolutely amazing. Thank you. If you do have any advice for anyone that is participating and did participate in this amazing journey, do they need to drink more water? They need to have any more kind of vegetables, leafy vegetables, less meat? What's the advice?
Yes, thank you for that. Be in the present moment as much as possible. Breathe, be mindful of your breath at all moments. Whatever you're eating, fill it with golden light and set the intention that this food is your medicine. It will nourish you. It will bring healing into the body. And most of the time you can't really say that intention and then eat like something really bad for yourself. So, just be mindful of what you're doing. And for the next 24 hours, drink a lot of water. If you feel some soreness or anything tomorrow, take time to exercise. A lot of people have a lot of stored emotions. And when we do work like this, it creates soreness in the body or something like this. So it means do some yoga, some stretching, because we have stuff that we need to get out. For the next couple weeks, probably going to have more memories coming up. Work on those memories. You saw a lot today. Don't stop your work there. Take the memories that you saw today and go deeper. Every one of those memories is a fragment of yourself that you can reintegrate. And there's a lot of work that can be done there. So yeah, if anybody needs more support, they can reach out to me. I'd be very happy to assist in any way.
Geraldine, can you put it in the chat, or maybe I can announce it, how they can possibly get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can visit my website at geraldineorozco.com. I also have some great videos on my YouTube channel that you can check out, and I'm happy to assist. I'll put it in the chat. Thank you.
I'll be doing a healing session with Geraldine this year as well.
So
very
Thank
excited
you.
about it. Thank you. And then also, if we have anybody in our Zoom or on the platform that would like to say a few words, that would be great. But Geraldine, again, it's an honor. I say it with all of my heart and intention. It's a sacred honor to have you on the platform today, as it is an absolutely extraordinary, special day, and you are the best vessel to bring that forward for us. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm humbled by your loving kindness, and thank you for the beautiful work that you do, Mariana. You're just amazing. You are a big, brilliant light, and everyone here on this panel is such a gift, and it's an honor to be here with you and connect with you. I hope to connect more with all of you. So thank you for what you do. Really is important, Mariana.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rosalind, if you're still with us, would you like to say a few words? I spotlight you.
Let me unmute. Thank you
Okay.
so much. That was incredible, Geraldine. And also, Simon, you both took us more deeply into an understanding of our spiritual and physical and biological and multidimensional mechanics, which was amazing. And the meditation was very deep. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mariana. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And I found myself just in a state today, feeling what Valentine's Day really means and feeling about love. And we're in that right now. And a bit of a transmission, activation of poetry came through. So if you would all like, I'll share it with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's pretty much called "The Force is With and Within You." Greetings, beloved all as one. May the force be with you, the unfathomable love, the immeasurable love, pure, unconditional love, compassionate, radiant, graceful, teacher, lover, sister, brother, father, mother, breath of life. From the darkness of the void came a shining light, as thought was thought with all its might, so much it shines in rainbow light. Before the word or even sound, a feeling felt gave birth to clouds, planets, stars, and galaxies. Only God could think of these. So much love and much to spare. Sparks were flying everywhere. Codes of creation, water drops, making sounds that never stop. Symphonies of beating hearts. This is how it ends and starts. Nothing is impossible. We are all phenomenal. Love is being grounded and anchored deep into the heart of Gaia. For the wisdom of Sophia knows that it is needed now more than ever before to be felt and cultivated through the growing pains and stages of a noble planet rising through the same, if not more, challenges than humanity itself, having finally experienced enough to break the chains that had us bound in forgetfulness of the true, powerful, patient, and divine loving nature of being human angels. Feel the energy of pure love, compassion, gratitude, and grace, unity, holding precious space as one heart. We bridge the gap, passing through yet another eye of the needle, and continue to clear the way for all the love that we are, just ready to crack wide open our hearts and break the dam so the crystal rivers can flow freely from our crowns to the ground and back up again to the pineal gland, the G gland, G land, Godlands of milk and honey, where freedom is love and love is freedom. Remember, the force is with and within you, always, always. So it is. So it is.
So it is. Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you so much for your
Thank
beauty, your eloquence as always. Thank you. And Igor, are you still with us? Hi.
Hello.
Would
It
you like
was
to add a
just a
few
pleasure
words?
just to be here to experience Geraldine and Rosalind and Simon, to all these beautiful expressions through your vessels and your experiences, to feel that of who you truly guys are. Each individual has their own experience, and the expression through your templates, it's very beautiful to hear that. And Marina, obviously, thank you so much for holding the space and bringing all of us together and creating these beautiful events. May you continue doing this, because this is what the world really needs. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And much love, because we are the vibration of love. If we are seeking somebody, you are seeking yourself in the other person. If you are looking somewhere outside of you, it's all within us, and we're all aware of this. But just take that moment, that deep moment, and just feel your heart, because everything emanates from that center.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so it is. So it is. Thank you so much. And Catherine, also, if you'd like, would you like to say a few words as well?
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
you.
Mariana. This was so beautiful. I really enjoyed this so much. I enjoyed being with all of you and experiencing such magnificence on such a beautiful day. I appreciate each one of you for who you are. And thank you for what you bring to the planet.
Thank you. And Kelly Johnson, would you like to say a few words as well?
Sure. I would like to say that I have a testimony of that beautiful poem that was written. Absolutely. The Father, the Mother, the Daughter, the Son, and the light that comes through them to each one of us. Thank you so much, all of you. What a blessing this was today. Thank you for ministering.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you. And any last words, Geraldine? Would you like to say anything to add to this beautiful
Gosh,
moment?
you know what? It's so, this is actually what makes life so valuable, is to connect with like-minded souls that are on the same journey. And really, honestly, thank you very much. And, everyone that's tuning in and listening, we're all in resonance. So if you're here, if you're watching this, you're in resonance on levels that are beyond just, your everyday life. And it's important to have these kinds of events and continuing this kind of unity. So it's an honor. Thank you for the beautiful words, Rosalind, that you share with us. Very beautiful. And everyone that participated here, just incredible. Thank you once again. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you so much. And then we also had a brief visit by Alan Steinfeld from New Realities. He did join. So just so you know, Geraldine, he did listen and he was part of the journey as well. And we do want to say thank you so much to Geraldine Orozco. You could check her out at www.geraldineorozco.com. Is that correct, Geraldine?
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then you could also check us out at www.esotericnyc.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today on our call. And when you guys will see us, anybody that will be attracted to us will always be in alignment with our vibration. And we are just here simply on the Magdalena Chronicles as part of the Esoteric Guides NYC to seed these beautiful messages and to be able to push forward and help Gaia not only to ascend, but to fully heal and to help the evolution of the human collective consciousness together with the galactic collective consciousness. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate and we're graced by your presence all throughout the globe and everywhere, wherever you are. Thank you so much. And all of you have a beautiful, absolutely extraordinary and magnificent Valentine's Day. Thank you. Thank you, Tavo.